All right, I see our little red tab in the left-hand side of my screen. We are live. This is WREIA, November 2021. Hope everyone is doing well. I'm going to give everyone a minute here to kind of come on board before we start tonight's meeting. As you can see, or as I can see in the comments page, you certainly can say hello. You can ask questions throughout the presentation. I'd appreciate it to keep everything moving. I already see we have a comment from Alan. Alan, you are becoming a notary. Excellent. Very good. Hey, Jim. Good to see Jim Howell online. Jim, I know you're always a sucker for a good book, so I got a good one for you tonight. We're going to talk about it a little bit. Maybe you've already read it. It's been real good. All right, we'll give everyone a few minutes here. Hard to believe that we're already in November, Thanksgiving here right around the corner. I do apologize for having this the Monday night of Thanksgiving. I know everyone is kind of a little bit busy this week, either planning on family and friends coming over for Thanksgiving, or maybe you're getting out of town. I read in the paper this morning that it's going to be record numbers of people at the airports and on the highways and byways. So if you're heading out, hopefully you can get a little early. I am heading to a house that we own between Asheville, North Carolina, and Greenville, South Carolina, a place called The Cliffs. We're meeting a couple families there that we know coming in from Georgia, and we're going to spend a few days. My son is flying in from Indianapolis, and then we're going to spend a few days there for Thanksgiving. So hopefully everyone is getting ready for the holiday, and then we come back and we turn around and we have 3 or 4 more weeks till the end of the year. We have the holidays, and then lo and behold, we're in 2022. Kind of hard to believe. I guess as time goes fast, you're getting a little older because it seems like it just goes so quickly these days. All right. Well, I'm going to get started here. Those of you that have been around Washington WREIA for a while know that we generally take hey, Dominic. I can't believe Dominic's online. That's great. I'm going to refer to Dominic a few times. Magaline, good to see you. Hope everything's good. Still waiting to hear about your son. Still anxious to do a little training with him. So certainly be in touch. As I was saying, if you've been following Washington WREIA, if you've been to our meetings for the past X amount of years, we generally spend November. Sometimes we even do a December meeting. We kind of spend this time looking forward and looking back. And we kind of spend a little time on goals. We spend time on planning. And I just want to give you a few ideas on some of the things that I do regularly. And hopefully you can gain a nugget or two to kind of implement into your own businesses. As I said, the year has gone really, really quick. So it's always good to kind of step back. You're kind of in the middle of it. And the next 3 or 4 weeks is a good time to really start planning for 2022. So this is what I want you to do. This is kind of the first little piece of advice, if you will. And Dominic's on the line here, and I've done a number of deals with Dominic this year, and I told him to do this exact same thing. Sit down in a quiet place, spend about half hour to an hour, if you will. This does not have to take a lot of time, and just look back on your year and kind of think about what went well. Where did you, if you're in the real estate investment business now, I know a lot of people that join us here are just getting started, or maybe you haven't had a lot of experience yet, or haven't had a lot of deals. I'm going to give you a few points and tips here too. But basically, if you're involved in the real estate investment game on any level, if you're a real estate agent or a mortgage broker, really any kind of business, you want to take a look backwards. You want to say, what worked in 2022? Where did our revenue come from? What marketing pieces? What email campaigns? What things resonated with our customers? How did we find our deals? Where did they come from? And Dominic, I'm glad you're on the line, because if you want to comment on this too, that'd be great. But I asked Dominic. Dominic did a number of deals this year, as many of you, and you kind of have to look back. Where did they come from? And when we really broke down his business, we noticed that they came from different sources. Now, again, if you've been a fan of mine, or you've listened to me for a number of years, I tell you there's no one way to find good real estate deals. If there was, we would all just do that, and it would be really, really easy, and everyone would do it. So it comes in bunches and it comes from different sources. And when we looked at his business, and I do the same thing with mine, where did it come from? Well, he got a couple from a wholesaler, someone that put a house under contract and then flipped it over to Dominic. So he got a couple there. He got a couple in his network, right? He had a referral from an attorney. He had a referral from a local county inspector. He had a couple from there. He also had a few from outbound marketing, where he took some radio and mail pieces and phone calls and different things that he is doing, and he got a few leads there. So as he looks at that and he looks at his profits on those deals, you really want to start focusing, okay, how can I add a little gas to this? How can I accelerate some of these methods to find deals? Where do I want to spend my marketing dollars? Where do I want to spend my time? Because folks, if you're doing something that's not working at all, or worked 3 or 4 years ago and is not working at all today, you don't want to spend all your time doing that in this coming year. Because I think we all understand that if you do the same things and get the same results, and they're not the results you want, you're kind of just spinning your wheels. So take a hard look at where that is. Now, those of you that are listening tonight and have done no deals, okay, what I want you to do, number one, is I want you to figure out the strategy that you want to implement in 2022. Are you a wholesaler? Do you want to buy, renovate, and sell? Do you want to do a hybrid method like we talked about last month? Do you want to be a long-term landlord? Do you want to be a long-term landlord in residential properties or commercial properties? Do you want to be a real estate agent? Do you want to be a mortgage broker? I mean, what do you want to do in the real estate investment business in 2022? Then marry yourself with one or two strategies. Talk to other investors. Read a lot. Find out what's working right now in today's market. And then as you go through this next 3 or 4 weeks, you want to put together what I call a blueprint or a plan. You want to really think about, what am I going to do next year to generate that first deal or that second deal, or I want to double my business. So this is the time. This is when you want to do that. You don't want to wait till January 1st, because as many of you know, a lot of you are going to get really busy here in the next few weeks. It's going to go fast. All of a sudden, New Year's is going to be here. The first week in January is going to be here. And you don't want to do it then, because you want to get off and running during those first few weeks of the new year. You want to get a good head start. You want to have things in place. Maybe you're printing some postcards. Maybe you're redesigning a letter. Maybe something kind of worked last year where you got a little response but didn't get a deal. Maybe you can tweak that. Maybe you can increase your data management game, where you're not getting leads and you're putting them in a management system, and now you can follow up. So all the things that you need to work on now, work on for the coming year, you want to start implementing now. And you really want to be starting to think about to do that in this current time. Okay, so tonight, what we're going to be talking about, and the title of the session that we put out there was Tiny Changes, Remarkable Results. And I just stole that. I'll be quite honest with you. I'm going to give you a book right now. I want you all to write this down. I want you to go on Amazon, or I want you to go to wherever you buy books, and I want you to go ahead and buy this book. It's called Atomic Habits. Now, again, some of you have probably heard about this. Some of you that are kind of in the real estate investment business world, and you kind of look on Amazon and different sites and look for good little business books, this has been a bestseller for a number of months. And it's a very, very powerful book. Now, the way I got introduced to it was great. It was awesome, because it was from my son. And whenever your kids, especially your grown kids, Jack just graduated from Butler University in June of 2022, got his first job, is out in Indianapolis, kind of going through that cycle of life where he doesn't have school anymore now. And he's starting to realize that, hey, I gotta have to get my act together a little bit if I want to be successful. And he's the one that sourced this book. And he called me up kind of all excited. He said, Dad, you really got to read this book. This is really helping me out doing certain things that I want to do. And I'm trying to implement some of the strategies, and I'm seeing some results. And again, as a dad or a father, and your son tells you that, and you're just worried that, they can survive this year, they can, wash their clothes and do their dishes and get to work. Having your son say that and reference a business book was great. And so I did. I ran out and got it and started reading it. And I've started implementing a bunch of these little things. Now, again, some of these things I've done for years, but it's always good to get refreshed. It's always good to learn new strategies, new techniques. And as I go through this, and I'm not going to bore you with every page, I encourage you to buy it and read it. And it's a book you can read a number of times. You don't get it all. It's not like a novel where you kind of get it, you place it down, and you go on to the next novel. It's something you can kind of keep in your bookshelf and you can refer to a couple times, take a little bit of it, implement it, see the results, kind of come back. And again, I'm not going to go page by page, but what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to give you a few highlights that in some of the highlight pages, if you will, and hopefully you can take some of this and implement into your business and start seeing some real change. Okay. Because one of the things I've noticed, and one of the things that I've worked with a lot of investors over the years, is that I get the same questions. I get the same responses. Oh, I really want to do the business this year. Oh, I'm finally going to get started next year. Oh, I really think that this is the strategy I want to implement. And I get a lot of that. And it's kind of frustrating sometimes in that I don't get, hey, guess what? This year I did 5 deals, or this year I did part-time and I bought 2 rentals. And so I really try to give people a little bits of nuggets here, if you will, that they can take and really implement and really get started. That's the whole idea here. That's what we're trying to get after. Okay. Atomic habits. All right. Let me define what a habit. Very simple. Habit is a behavior that is repeated enough times to become automatic, right? That is our goal. We want to get into good habits. We want to be doing things in our business life and our personal life. Obviously, you can apply this to either way, that you repeat enough times so it becomes automatic. No one has to tell you to do these things. It's like, when you're growing up and someone tells you, your parents tell you to brush your teeth, and they tell you, hey, once a day isn't enough. Let's do it, when you wake up and before you go to bed at the minimum. That would be great. And then all of a sudden you find yourself doing that without even thinking. And that's where we want to get with some of our business habits. Okay, it's easy to relate to our personal. I'm going to relate my own personal challenges, if you will, in some habit forming. But again, let's apply it to our businesses. How can we create really solid habits that happen automatically now, that we see an increased productivity, increased revenue growth, increased satisfaction with whatever we're doing in our business lives? And again, this does not matter if you're part-time or you're full-time, it still works. So let's talk about the 4 laws of behavior change, because that's really what this book focuses on. It focuses on how we can change our behavior, okay, how we can change our habits to make sure we're putting in good habits and replacing some of those crappy habits, the habits that, we procrastinate and we don't pick up the phone, or we don't write that letter, or we don't create that data list, or we don't go find a good marketer to help us, or we don't really kind of lazy about finding a contract. We've heard how you do it, but we really don't do that on a daily basis because, hey, I don't have a deal yet. So why should I find a contractor? Why should I find money? And why should I do these things if I don't have a deal? Well, I don't really feel like working today because I got other things to do. On and on. All right. So we're trying to create these behavior changes. We're trying to create habits in your business where you can thrive. So these are the 4 laws. And this is what the book Atomic Habits talks about. It talks about cue, and I'll define these: cue, craving, response, and reward. Now, the downside sometimes of doing this online is that we're in person. I can map this for you. We can talk about it. We can have a discussion back and forth. So hopefully maybe you have a few notes. You can rewatch this on Facebook or YouTube and get some of these. But cue, craving, response, and reward. So let's talk about these. So if you really want to change your behavior, all right, we're going to go through each one of these. Now, cue. This is the simple question. How can we make it obvious? And I'll go through these in a little more depth. How can we make that habit obvious? Number 2, craving. How can we make it attractive, right? So if something is attractive, if something that we want to do, it's going to be very easy to change our patterns in our habits to accomplish that. So that craving, how do we make that attractive? Like, when you crave, and this is related, like if you crave a donut, it's very, very simple, right? That donut, man, that's out there. It's not that expensive. Boy, at 10:30 in the morning, that would taste really good. So it's attractive. It satisfies a need. It satisfies hunger. It satisfies that craving for sugar. So we have to replace that. What's another habit that we can replace there that has the same attractiveness? We'll get back to that. How can we make it easy? Okay, that's the 4th part. That's a response. How can we make this an easy transition into these good habits? And then reward. How can we make it satisfying? So now once we do this, once we have this habit, like when we brush our teeth, that satisfaction of having a clean mouth when we go off to work, we're not going to offend anybody. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as something like brushing your teeth. And that's where we want to get with some of our business habits. All right, we're going to break these down a little bit for you. Again, if you have any questions, comments, let me know. I know this is always a little difficult for me because I'm talking to the screen. I'm looking at myself. I have no idea. People are probably watching the ball game by now, watching the news, who knows, watching their kids. But I'm going to keep going. Law 1, cues. As we said, make it obvious. Make it obvious. So the first step in this is you got to be aware. You got to be aware of your bad habits. Now, this is very easy for me. I have a bad habit of drinking Diet Coke. Diet Coke in itself is not horrible, but when you drink 3 or 4 or 5 of them a day, it can be horrible. My legs start aching. I got too much of that acetane in my legs. I got too much sugar. Also, when I drink Diet Coke, it gives me a craving for sugar or starches or carbohydrates. So again, if I start drinking more Coke and I have a craving for that, I'm going to eat that during the day. I'm going to gain weight. So I understand this. I got to call it out. I got to know that, hey, this is probably not a great habit for me. How can I replace this? How can I get off that? Okay, off that and replace that with something else. That's going to be some of my examples. So they talk about using implementation techniques. And again, this is all in Atomic Habits. And this is what they say. It basically means this. I will blank, okay? I will do the action at a certain time in a certain location. So I will do this action at a certain time in a certain location. So simple one for me. I will drink 3 glasses of water at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm an early riser in the kitchen after I let Bella out, our dog. So routinely I get up 5:30, 6, maybe 6:30 some mornings. And my habit is pretty simple. I get up, I take a shower, I get dressed, I come down, I let the dog out. Okay. The dog goes out. I feed the dog. When the dog comes in, I gather my things and I leave. All right. So something as simple as trying to get rid of this Diet Coke in the morning is I can start drinking more water, right? My 22-year-old in shape son says, Dad, just drink water. Replace it with water. Just drink water. Always have water. Dad, have more water. He's always telling me this, and it's easy to hear it, but I have to implement it. So I know that, listen, I'm getting up every morning regardless, right? I'm getting dressed every morning regardless. I'm going downstairs and letting the dog out. It's a habit. I do it every single day. When she comes in, I feed her and I scratch her and I rub her, said good girl and all those good things. But in between that time, I'm really doing nothing. I'm just kind of waking up. I'm not, I'm getting my phone together. I'm getting maybe some things together, but I'm really not doing anything. So it'd be very, very simple. And I've been doing this and trying is that right when I let her out, I turn around. Our kitchen door to our backyard is in the kitchen. And I go to the faucet, I get a cup of water, and I drink 3 of them. And again, that gives me a good start to the morning. I'm a little fuller, so I don't eat as big a breakfast, if you will. I don't crave the Diet Coke as much, which will lead me not to crave the pastries and donuts and everything else that I might, or a muffin or a bagel that I might eat at breakfast. Very simple. So implementation, be aware of the bad habit, and then say, I will take the action. Okay, I will write, I will email, 3 contacts at 7 o'clock in the morning in my office. Whatever that action is, start doing it. The second thing I want to tell you on Law 1, this cue is, and you've heard this, I'm probably sure if you've been around business long, they talk about stacking habits. They talk about doing something good and then stacking something else on top of that. All right. So it says combine a good habit with a new habit you're trying to achieve. So Diet Coke to waking up. Combine routine in morning with a healthy habit. So again, I'm waking up, right? I'm letting the dog out and I'm trying to replace that Diet Coke habit of getting in the car and running over to 7-Eleven or running to a gas station if I need gas or wherever I'm going first thing in the morning. Instead of walking in and getting that Diet Coke, I've already had that 3 glasses of water and that should sustain me. Okay. So you start stacking habits where you're doing something anyways, and then you add something to that to start forming that new habit. Remember, a habit is defined when we do it over and over and over again, it becomes routine. And you just have to replace some of that routine with new routine. The second part of this is design your environment. It said make the cues of good habits obvious and visible. Okay. So when we design our environment and we're trying to replace a bad habit, basically that's very simple. And in my case, as I use this little Diet Coke water example, I have to design my environment. What does that mean? I have to constantly have bottles of water or a flask of water, whatever it is, around. I have to have it in the car. Okay. So I'm trying to design my environment, my area. If I'm driving along and I have nothing to drink and I'm thirsty and I pass 7-Eleven, again, my cue is, gosh, if I go into 7-Eleven, I can buy a Diet Coke and that will make me feel good, give me a little burst of energy, and I'll feel better. But overall, long term, that's not really that great for me. Again, remember what Diet Coke does to me personally. I've been drinking Diet Coke for years and years, but what it does, it increases my cravings for more sugar. And so it's definitely a trigger. It's definitely a cue for me. So if I can stay away from that environment, if I can stay away from that 7-Eleven or gas station in the morning, I have a better shot at getting rid of this Diet Coke, getting rid of the sugars, losing weight, so forth and so on, feeling healthier, and so on. All right. Law 2. Again, any comments, questions, throw them out. I know I'm running through this a little quick, but I don't want to bore you too much. But this stuff is important. This stuff is important to hear and to implement. Law 2, craving, making it attractive, okay? This is what they talk about. Join a culture where desired habit is normal behavior. So join a culture where desired habit is normal behavior. So again, in my instance, I want to lose weight. I'm 25 pounds overweight. I had a meniscus operation in end of July. My knee is still sore. Why? I'm doing some rehab. I'm doing the walking. I'm doing the stretching, but it's still sore. Good chances because I'm 20 to 25 pounds overweight. Okay. And so how can I create that culture where this habit is normal behavior? And normal behavior for me is more exercise. I've always been, kind of into sports and athletics. And how can I be around that more in order to motivate me where I'm kind of like, gosh, all these people are doing it. Why can't I? Well, that's obvious. If you want to get in shape, you get to a gym, you change your eating habits, you become more active. So again, you create some of these behaviors by being around that culture. These folks are naturally, not everyone at the gym is fit, but there's plenty of fit people. And you start observing, you're seeing, and you see when they leave the gym, they don't go into the cafeteria and buy something sweet. They buy water, they buy, protein bar, they do different things. You want to emulate that. You want to be around that. And I think about it like if you're an alcoholic, right? You don't want to be hanging around in bars. You don't want to be hanging around all your buddies that drink a six-pack while they watch the Washington football team, right? So you want to be around people that aren't as big of drinkers. Maybe they don't drink at all. And again, so that normal behavior is, hey, when we sit down and watch a football game, I don't grab a beer. So you want to be around people like that. So the idea is whatever you want to have that habit being, you want to surround your people that are like-minded, if you will. That's the same with real estate investment. We've been saying that for years, right? That's the power of WREIA, to be quite honest. When you walk into the doors of WREIA, okay, when we're in person or you hit the Zoom, you're surrounded by people that I've said it many times that have drank the juice, meaning they believe this stuff. They believe that if you learn the proper education and proper skills, you can go out and create millions for yourself. You can create a net worth of millions of dollars by buying, renovating, selling real estate, by wholesaling real estate, by owning real estate for a long time. Janice, I love it. Had to reach for a water bottle. Very good. Very good. And I'm going to get to more of that. The point is hang around people that you want to achieve. So if you want to be a wholesaler, find other wholesalers, find other real estate investors. They're not going to beat you up. If your brother, your sister, your family member says, no way, you can't do this. You can't buy real estate with no money down. No, you can't find a good partner. No, you can't find a good contractor. Get away from those people. Be around people, be around a culture, be around an environment that is supportive, that believes what you believe. And that's very, very important to find that group. I hope Washington WREIA is part of that, but you even need more of that, okay? Do something you enjoy before a difficult task. Now, again, this is simple, right? Reward yourself first and then put that new habit in there. I'll give you an example. Exercise, right? I want to lose some weight. So I love sports. I love watching football. I love watching everything, golf, soccer, basketball, you name it. I like to watch it. So now what I've been trying to do, if I'm just lying on the couch in the evening and or on a Sunday, I will at halftime turn the TV off, go out and do something active, right? Get back into being more active, whether that's walking, riding a bike, taking a jog, whatever the case may be. Is I enjoy watching the game. I know I'm going to watch more of the game, but in between there, I can do something that helps me and puts this new habit back into my life. I mean, I used to be so active, always on the run, always doing something athletic. But again, as I've gotten older, gotten a little lazier, gotten a little heavier, my knees hurt a little more. I don't do it as much as I once did. So again, I have to kind of reintroduce that into my habit forming ways. All right. So again, we can do that in business too. If you like looking at houses, okay, if you enjoy going out on the weekend and riding through neighborhoods and looking at houses, but you hate paperwork, you hate writing a good letter, sales letter, you hate sending emails or whatever you do, try to implement that before or right after you do something you enjoy. Hey, let me go out and look at houses for an hour or two, but let me come back to the office for a half hour to 45 minutes in order to do these things I don't like to do, or do them first, do them early in the morning. Okay. And get them out of the way. And then you have the whole day to do things you enjoy. Law 3. All right. So law 1, let me go back, is cues. Okay. Law 1 is cues. It's make it obvious. Okay. Make it obvious. In other words, understanding what your bad habits are, you can change them. Law 2 is craving, make it attractive. Law 3 is your response, make it easy. Okay. Now, this book, Atomic Habits, talks about when you start a new habit, you should be able to do that new habit in less than 2 minutes. Hilarious, right? So if you want to get exercise more, if you want to go to the gym, the first week, just put on your running shoes and tie them and then stop. Right? Put on your running shoes, time, stop. Put on your running shoes, get in the car, go to the gym, turn around, come home. Next day, build on it. 2 minutes or less. 2 minutes or less. Okay. It's very, very important. Dwayne, 21 consistent days to break a habit. Does the book mention anything like that? Yes, it talks about that, but it goes deeper. It talks more about human behavior. But you're right. Once you start doing this and you start, I don't quite believe that though. I believe it's more human behavior. I think we have to totally change our behavior, because believe me, I've been off Diet Coke for more than 21 days at a time. Way back 3 or 4 years ago, maybe longer than that, 5 or 6 years ago, I went to the World Cup. I went to Brazil for the World Cup for 3 weeks. I did not have a sip of Diet Coke. I came back that night to the Houston airport. I had to spend the night overnight. I got into my hotel room and go, gosh, I kind of want a Diet Coke. When I tasted that Diet Coke, it tasted horrible, horrible. And I don't know why I picked it up again, but as soon as I drank it, it tastes a little better, tastes a little better, So I'm not sure if I believe that. You really got to change your behavior. You got to change your patterns. You got to change your environment. You got to change your culture. You got to change a lot to get rid of that bad habit. Number 3, though, make it easy, 2 minutes and under. And then it also talks about automating your habits. All right. Invest in tech, one-time purchases to lock in future behavior. The simple explanation for this, let me say that again. Automate your habits. Invest in tech and one-time purchases to lock in future behavior. Simple example of this. I'm going to go back to my son. Jack graduated from college. He got a very good first-time job. He's working for a large government contractor. Gives him a lot of experience in his tech field. He gets to network and start out in his career. And he started getting paid. And when a college kid starts getting paid, it's more money than they've generally had. And I pounded in him. I said, Jack, make sure you take a small percentage of that money, whatever you can afford. If it's $25, if it's $50, $100, I don't know. Whatever you can afford, get rid of it. Pay yourself first. Open up an account, Robinhood, a stock account, some long-term investable account, and start putting that money aside. Do it automatically. Get it out of your paycheck. As soon as they wire that money goes into another account, like you never even had it. That will allow him to start building savings and building capital so he can invest. And I told him, hey, you're young, take some risk. If you want to buy some Bitcoin, if you want to buy some speculative stocks, go for it. Go for big returns. Go for home runs if you like. But the point is, take some money aside, but automate it so you don't have to even think about it. And then it'll become automatic. And, he hasn't been doing this for long, but he's told me many times, I'm so glad you told me to do this, because I know if I had the money, a lot of it would be filtered away on the weekends and going to the concerts and going to a bar or whatever, 22-year-old does in Indianapolis. So my point is that when you have something that you can automate, okay, and create a good habit, and a lot of this has to do with saving or putting a little money of each deal into a marketing budget, or in some cases, putting a little money aside for taxes. Okay. Dominic's listening. Dominic, we talked to him about this, is that he's making a lot of money and he needs to plan for taxes and has to put a little bit away each time for taxes. So at the end of the year, he doesn't get, in trouble. So automate those habits. Number 3, understand the decisive moment. All this means is small choices equal maximum impact. I'm going to relate to myself. Folks, I know the moment. I know I had it today. I was out in off 95 in Hanover, Maryland, looking at a property today. And right before that, I got some good news. And I figured out, sadly, that I like to eat bad food when I have bad news. And I also like to eat it when I have good news. That's not good. That's called emotional eating, right? But I got some really good news as I driving up to this house. And I looked at the house and I did a little research. And as it coming out, lo and behold, there's, a fast, not a fast food, but like not even a 7-Eleven, but a market right now. I'm going to run in there and get a little something to eat. And didn't have any breakfast. About 10:30 in the morning, my blood sugar is probably spiking. I'm going to go. And then, right as I turning in, I'm going, I'm doing a presentation tonight on habits. What are you doing? And I just kind of slapped myself on the side and said, get out of here. Literally, I did that. And I just turned around and I got out of there. Again, these small choices have maximum impact because I didn't need that snack, if you will. I was going to have lunch with somebody at noon. I didn't need that little jolt, if you will. But again, it's that cue, it's that craving, it's that habit forming where, hey, I have a little bit of time here. I'm going to grab something on my way back to the office. Got to make those small choices. You can do the same thing in business. Small choices can be, hey, I'm going to follow up with everybody in my database at least once every 6, depending how big your database is, once every month, once every 2 months. Those small little things that you can do next year maybe could lead you to 1 or 2 more deals. If you're buying, renovating, and selling, a good deal around here is 30, 40, 50 grand. That small little change in your habits, that small little marketing change could result in $80,000 to $100,000 more revenue for your company. Think of that impact. And I'm telling you, if we do some of these things, and I'm in the same boat, I'm going the journey right with you. And I've been doing this for 25 plus years. I'm still trying to change some of my bad habits so I can have better results in my personal life and my business life. All right. Law 4, we're getting through these. Reward, make it satisfying. I'm just going to read this. Reward yourself immediately when you accomplish your habit. Okay. That doesn't mean like I was talking about before. That means, healthy rewards if you're talking about eating, but that could be a financial reward. Maybe you had a good deal. Maybe you should go out and spend $100 on anything you like, or $200, anything you like. Maybe you should reward yourself every now and then with a 3 or 4 day vacation. Hey, I had a really good month. I just want to relax. I want to, get away from all this. I'm going to head somewhere for 3 or 4 days. So it's rewarding yourself once you implement and have these habits in place. Track your results. They talk about this, Dwayne, this goes back to your point. They track your results. And if you're on a winning streak, if you're a competitive person like I am, you don't want to break that streak. So again, if I'm 20 days without a Diet Coke, man, I want to keep going. And if you screw up, they also talk about never miss it twice. So if your goal is to go to the gym or exercise 3 or 4 times a week, and you only do it twice one week, that's fine. The next week, just make sure you get back on that 3 or 4 time cycle. So again, you want to get back on the horse, if you will. You want to keep going and keep motivating yourself to apply all these things. All right. Okay. Almost done here with this part of the presentation. Now we're going to talk about how to break a bad habit. All right. So those are some of the laws. I'll review those real quick as we get out of here. But how to break a bad habit. It's just the opposite of the 4 laws. So if law 1 is make it visible, be aware of it. Okay. The opposite is make it invisible. Okay. Just make it invisible. Make it like it's, like it's automatic for you. Okay. Make it unattractive. So make that habit unattractive. Like drinking this Diet Coke is just not good for me. And look at myself in the mirror. It's not good. I have a new mind, create that new mindset. Highlight the benefits of those bad habits. right? So what's the benefit of my drinking Diet Coke? Well, it's filled with aspartame, makes my legs ache if I drink too much. It leads me to eat more starches and more carbohydrates. I'm going to gain weight. I can't fit in my clothes, can't fit in my shirt. I look ridiculous on Zoom. And then, all those things you can kind of create, which will motivate you not to do that bad habit. Make it difficult. Again, this is the opposite. Increase the friction, make it harder for your bad habits. Okay. And then make it unsatisfying. Something they talk about as an accountability partner, and people that you see in your life every single day or X amount of times during the week, let them know what you're trying to do. Hey, I'm trying to find my first deal this year. Make sure that I'm working 5 to 10 hours a week toward that goal. And when you see me next, ask me, hey, did you do your 10 hours of work on finding your first deal? Or in my case, if you see me with a Diet Coke, call me on it. Hey, what are you doing? You said you didn't want a Diet Coke. And again, when I say this about Diet Coke, it's a very small thing, right? But for me, I know it's a trigger. I know it leads me to wanting other unhealthy foods that is a result of weight gain, especially with my meniscus and my knee, where I haven't been able to exercise as much this year. So as that becomes better and my motivation and goal is to be able to play golf next spring and to ski this winter, again, that's going to help me break out of some of this cycle that I've been in and to get back to a quote unquote playing weight where I'll feel better and I'll be able to accomplish more exercise, which makes me feel better, which makes me more motivated to do more things in business and more so on and so forth. So all that is good. So have that accountability partner. All right. Let me review. Atomic Habits. Go out and buy it. It's a business book. It's not a quote unquote enjoyable read. It's not a beach weekend read. It's something you can put on your business shelf. You can refer to it. You can underline it. You can circle back with it. You can try a little something and implement it and then come back, try a little something more. It's that kind of book in my mind. These habits, man, these can change your life. If you can just change your habits a little bit, you're going to see great results. In the email, we talked about Tom Brady. Tom Brady was not, and he'll say this, he was not born a great quarterback. He just made himself a great quarterback. Now, of course, he's 6'6". He has a strong arm. He's obviously athletic, but because he is always trying to improve, always trying to get better and better, that's why he's one of the greatest of all. There's a story out that he played one of these celebrity golf tournaments, and in the parking lot before he's teeing off, Charles Barkley, famous basketball player, saw him out running sprints in the parking lot. Now, again, this is dead of the summer. Football season is long over. Football season starting is long. It's not starting for months. And he's out there in the morning before a celebrity golf tournament running sprints. And Barkley went up to him and says, Tom, what the heck? What are you doing? And Brady turned to him and goes, I'm trying to win another Super Bowl. And what that meant is that there's no let up. His self-discipline is off the charts. I mean, he is just so dedicated to his end goal is that he's willing to put in all the work that's needed in order to achieve that. Think about what you're trying to achieve. Think about how you can implement small things in your business, in your life, to get to where you want to go. So again, the 4 laws are cue, craving, response, reward. Cue, craving, response, reward. Some of the questions: how can I make it obvious? Cue. In other words, being aware. How can I make it attractive? Craving, right? How can you make that new habit really attractive so you want to do it? How can you make it easy? You implement that right into your life, right into your current life. You just slide it right in there. And then how can you make it satisfying? What's the reward? Why are you doing this? What's it going to make you feel like? How's it going to lead you to a better life? So hopefully that helps you out. All right. Any questions on that, comments on that? Feel free to throw us a comment here. Something else that I do that I want to kind of talk about tonight as we finish up our WREIA for November. I am going to be coming to you in December on another subject, just so you know that. I know you'll all put that on your calendar as I announce that. But something that I do, again, from a goal setting standpoint, or just an exercise I've done for many years. And some of you have heard it. I call it my bucket system. I break up my business in separate buckets and create goals, systems, and business plans for each bucket. All right. I'm going to tell you what the buckets are for my business. You can do the same thing. It's just breaking down your business down into little bit of buckets. Now, again, a lot of you have heard of acorns.com. They talk about side hustles. This is the same idea. Someone's working full time and they have another bucket. They have another side hustle bucket. And some of these side hustle buckets have turned into big businesses, full-time businesses. So again, it's just breaking down your business into little buckets to where you can really focus and take time on each of those and figure out how you can make those grow. So you create a system that you can plan, track, and analyze your activity and results on a regular intervals. Again, so this is not something that you do now and you put aside. This is something that you take out weekly, monthly, quarterly, every 6 months. You kind of take a look at it. Where am I in this? What can I do better? Am I implementing the things that I put in place? Have I sent out my marketing letters? Have I made my phone calls? Have I hired, the VA that I need to do this? Whatever it is you need to do and you're putting in your plan, you make sure that you're doing that. Now, my buckets, I have 5 of them. My first bucket is my buy, renovate, and sell business. This is going to be your main source of income. If you work for the federal government, that's bucket 1, and you know exactly what you make. If you are a wholesaler and that's what you primarily want to do, and that's the majority of your revenue, that's your bucket number 1. So it's whatever you generate your most your most revenue for your company from. That's bucket 1. How can we make that sizable? How can we make that grow? How can we make that hit our goals that we want to hit for 2022? Bucket 2 for me is probably more important than bucket 1, tell you honestly. Bucket 2 for me is my long-term cash flow and long-term net worth activity. So these are the rental properties, commercial and residential rental properties that I own. Am I satisfied with that cash flow? How can I increase that cash flow? Can I raise the rents? Can I reduce expenses? Can I add another property to that? Or am I satisfied with that right now? One of the things that I had in my bucket this year is I wanted to move a few properties out of Montgomery County. It's becoming very difficult to do business as a landlord in Montgomery County. So I've done some 1031 tax-free exchanges. I'm settling on one tomorrow. All right. This property I'm selling is $400,000. In the next 45 days, I have to identify up to 3 properties worth at least $400,000 or more. I can do up to 3. Okay. That's going to increase my net worth. That's going to increase my cash flow in theory if I find the right property. And again, you can buy these all around the country. All right. So my cash flow for me and my net worth, that's probably the most important thing, right, in your business. All right. So you want to, for me, that's bucket 2. Bucket 3 for me is another ancillary bucket for revenue. This is another revenue source for me. As you know, I provide short-term financing for other investors. Okay. I do hard money loans, basically out of my IRA. All right. Now I use some of the IRA money for my own deals, use some of the IRA for other people's deals. And so every year I want to increase that. I want to see that short-term financing goal of, hey, do I want to do, 10 deals? Do I want to do 7 deals? Or do I want to generate $50,000 in this bucket off interest and points? Whatever the case may be, I want to have a concrete plan for what I want to do for that bucket number 3. Bucket 4 is, again, another revenue bucket for me. It's basically my training bucket. Okay. I'm not doing as much training as I had in the past. Many of you know I did monthly trainings for years and years and years. I had 40, 50 people in the room, many months. And it was a big bucket for me during those years. I've come off that a little bit. I've tried to do a lot more free things. I've tried to, obviously, WREIA hasn't really ever been revenue generating back maybe in 04, 05, but for many years it hasn't been. But I still have some revenue goals for the training part of my business. Okay. That's bucket 4. And then bucket 5, I call my slot bucket. Dominic, this is what I referred to when I talked to you about just a bucket where I can put X amount of dollars in this through other activities that kind of fall into my lap, if you will, through the real estate investment business. Could be a real estate commission. I'm a realtor. Maybe I pick up a listing or 2 somewhere along the line. Maybe I provide contracting services to somebody along the line. We've done different things like that where I've made a little money. Maybe I do a little referral base. I did a referral fee this year, Gary McKeithen. If you're online, I made a point or 2 from Gary's deal, and I made, I think, $5,000 or $10,000 there. Sometimes I'll do very, very short-term bullet loans, unsecured loans, different things where I'm making a little bit of money. One year, it was the bucket overflowed because I did a commercial deal. I was the selling broker on a pretty large commercial deal. So that bucket overflowed that year. That's not my primary, but again, I have goals for each of these buckets. So when all of it comes together, my year will be profitable, hopefully. Now, I don't always reach my goals. There's a number of years that I don't. There's numbers of years that I exceed them. But it's amazing how close I get when I really sit down and I really focus and I really take time to really write plans for each of these buckets and then refer back to them. How am I doing there? Hey, that one's kind of low. Maybe I could be a little more aware of that. Maybe I can let people a little bit know that, hey, I can list their property. So whatever the case may be, it works. It works. And again, it's just a very, very simple method that you can try in order to keep you focused. And then when you combine the atomic habits that you're going to get here in the next week, do a little reading, provide the bucket system or your goal system or your revenue system, and you combine that, you kind of come out of the gate after the holidays, ready to rock and roll for 2022. I assure you, if you take some time here, you will see some vast improvement. Comments, questions, complaints. All right. I can't believe 2021 is coming to an end. It's amazing. I know a lot of you with the pandemic, me included. It's been a roller coaster. There's been some good things come out of it. Certainly, there's certainly been some bad things. But as we come out of this, I do believe the market will be pretty good. It slowed down a little bit, but I still believe supply and demand will take precedent. And I still believe next year, with interest rates still being very, very good, supply not being that great, it will be a great year for us as real estate investors. Those of you that own rental properties, rents are up, buy, renovate, and sell, although competitive, always has been, hate to tell you, there's still good deals out there. There's still ways to make money here in real estate in the DC area. And I encourage you to get out there. For those of you that need training, those of you that need mentoring, I'm throwing this out as a soft offer, if you will. I've been thinking, those of you that came in last month know that I do thinking while I drive. That's when I kind of do my thinking. Turn off my radio and I just kind of think. And I did a recent training. I really enjoyed it. I think the people enjoyed it. And I'm hearing a lot of the same things from different folks. So next year, what I'm going to offer for anyone that's interested is I'm going to offer a year-long mentoring program. All right. This is still in the works. This is going to be incredibly affordable. I'll tell you the price right now. It's $4,995. That's it for the whole year. There's going to be quarterly in-house meetings, meaning we're going to be together the whole day from 9 to 5 all day, getting trained on real estate investment. We're going to be doing that 4 times a year, once a quarter. In the interim, we're going to be doing some phone calling. So again, we'll be on the phone together to make sure that everyone is on track and everyone is doing what they say they're going to do. Because sometimes when we do training, and I know everyone's ideas and goals are different, and that's fine. But I do feel like some people get the training, they get all excited, they try 1 or 2 things, and then they kind of give up and they go back to their old habits. So this way, we're going to be able to be accountable to you. We're going to be able to help you achieve whatever goal you want. We're also going to meet at least twice over the course of the year at some houses. We're going to, show you, walk you through probably a renovation, probably something in the middle, something at the end. You're going to see this business in actual form, if you will. So this is going to be a good long 1-year class. We're going to be in touch a lot of email, a lot of phone, in person, on site. And it's roughly $5,000. My guarantee will be the same if you do any deal. And I'm hoping over the course of the year that you'll do a deal. That'd be the goal, obviously. And you involve me in any way, you will get that money, that training money back. This is something I'm throwing out. If you have any interest, you can text. I think it'll be up on the screen. You can just throw mentor down there. That's not a commitment. Be happy to talk you through it. As we develop it a little bit more. This is for folks that have just been putting off and really want to learn and really want to get started. I'm going to limit this to 10 folks. That's as many people as I can handle. So it's 10 people. We're going to be getting together here at the office for full days of training with all the materials. You'll be going out in the field with me. We'll be following up with emails and phone calls. And I think you're going to get a lot out of this course. Again, if you put in some effort and you put in to what you want to do, we'll cater it, to the general, the real estate investment. And then we'll personally help you achieve different goals that you might have. Some of you might want to buy rental property. Some of you might want to wholesale. Some of you might want to buy, renovate, and sell. Concepts will all be the same, but we'll also help you achieve that goal. So again, throwing that out. If you're interested, the first meeting will most likely be in March. We'll get started first of the year, but the in-person meeting will be in March, and it'll be once every quarter. And then we'll do the in-person out in the field. So something to think about. I know that's not really that expensive, honestly, but I know it's a lot of money. So you got to think about it. But let me know if you're interested. Be happy to follow up with you and talk to you about that. We will be back in December. I'm going to come up with some kind of subject here for December. I am hopeful. I don't want to be out of touch with you folks too long. If you have deals, if you have looking for partners, you're looking to wholesale, dial me up. I'd love to talk to you. I don't have to be a part of the deal if you don't want me to. If you just want to run it by someone, if you just want to bat different things around, be happy to do that with you too. Folks, have a great Thanksgiving. I know tonight's kind of a tough night before the holidays with everything going on this week, but have a really good Thanksgiving. I think we all can be thankful for something. It's been an interesting 18, really going on 20 months now. But I hope you're you're doing well. I really appreciate you tuning in. I know this is kind of sometimes a hard format to stay focused and stay engaged, but I do really appreciate it. And if you have feedback for me, I'm willing to listen, unless you just hate it. And that probably hurt my feelings, and I'll probably go out and have to drink 6 Diet Cokes tomorrow. But anyways, thanks a lot. Good to see some of you online. Hope to see you more in person next year. We're talking about that, getting back to some in-person meetings next year, and I think that will be great for everyone. So take care, and we'll see you again soon.